Hi there friends, and welcome to my channel Catspaw Canteen. I'm Kenny, and today we're making one of my favorite Japanese tofu dishes called Agedashi tofu. Now, Agedashi tofu is one of those dishes that you'd love to have on a cold winter's night, and quite recently it's been very cold here, and I've also been craving some fried food, but I wanted to keep it, well, mildly healthy, so I thought, hey, why not Agedashi tofu? I'm going to fry some tofu and serve it with some delicious sauce. So come follow me into the kitchen and I'm going to show you how I make it. First off, let's prep the tofu. Now, when it comes to buying tofu, you could get whatever firmness that you desire. I prefer Agedashi tofu to be soft or silk tofu. Now, you could use firm as well, but I like to use soft because when you fry it, it's nice and crunchy on the outside, but it melts on the inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this out of the package real quick. Alright, so I've gotten the tofu out of its package, drained it, and what we're going to do is we want to take some of the excess liquid out of the tofu. So you're going to go ahead, gently wrap it in some kitchen paper or kitchen towels, like that. You could also use cheesecloth as well if you have it, or some clean towels. And the next part, you could use a little plate or a metal container like this and place the tofu right in there. Again, careful not to break these. You don't want it to fall apart. Fits perfectly in this. Next, we're going to put another container on top and put some weight on it. You could use whatever weight you have handy. You could use a little pot or pan, another plate if you want to. By adding weight to the tofu, it squeezes out any of the excess moisture or liquid that's already in there, and it makes the tofu richer once cooked. So let's go ahead and put that aside for now. Next, let's go ahead and start preparing the sauce. Get out your handy dandy suribachi or a mortar and pestle, and we're gonna use some of this premium roasted white sesame seed or irigoma. You can use as much as you like. I like plenty of this. And go ahead and just crush them all up as much as possible. You don't need it to become powder, just crushed, because when you crush roasted sesame seeds, a lot of the aroma comes out and makes the soup extra delicious. And there we go. Just like I said, doesn't need to be a powder, but nice and crushed, just like that. And it'll serve as a good topping as well. So you could put half in the soup and half as a topping. Next, I'm going to go ahead and prepare the sauce. I've got my little sauce pot heated up. I'm going to add a drizzle of sesame oil, and I'm going to go ahead and add half a teaspoon of minced ginger and add some ponzu. I'm going to add about half a cup of ponzu. Now, the ponzu that I'm using is a brand called Mitsukan Ajipon. This is probably one of the best and well-known brands of ponzu there is in Japan. You could probably find it at your local Asian market. I have seen a Kikkoman brand as well, which is also pretty good, and they sell those at certain grocery stores like Walmart. I've seen it at Albertsons and the commissary as well if you're in the military community. And the next sauce that we're going to add to it is sesame sauce. This is a Morita brand sesame sauce. This one, I know it's in Italian here. Now, if you can't find sesame sauce, I'll go ahead and put a link from Amazon in there. You can go ahead, check it out if you want to buy it. There we go. I've added about half a cup of this sesame sauce along with the ponzu. And go ahead, give that a good stir. Now, ponzu already contains dashi, but I'm going to add just a tad bit because we're going to water this down a bit. This by itself will make a very good sauce, but it is very condensed, very salty, so I'm going to add some water. There we go. About a cup of water. Go ahead, mix that up. Depending on the region you're from in Japan, or even the restaurants or even families, they have different soups and sauces that they serve with fried tofu. I like using ponzu and sesame sauce because it reminds me of tofu hot pots, and it goes so well with tofu. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add about half of the crushed sesame seeds in here. And go ahead, just mix that up again. Now all we're gonna do is let this simmer for a good 10-15 minutes. It's been about 2 hours now, and I've gone ahead and unwrapped the tofu from the paper towels, and we're gonna cut them into smaller blocks. So cut it in half, and then horizontally. There we go. We produce about 8 small blocks here. Here we go. Alright, the next step is pretty simple. Get yourself some cornstarch or potato starch. Grab one of the small blocks of tofu and coat it. Now you want to do this one at a time, because if you leave it in cornstarch for too long, the coating will get too wet, and you don't want the coat to get wet. So as soon as you coat one, you have to drop it in the hot oil. So preferably you should be doing this right next to the stove with some oil prepared. So let's go ahead and run over to the stove. So I've got some oil heated up already, so let's go ahead and drop one in there and keep coating and drop in. I'm gonna do 8 pieces at a time here because I'm just running out of space in the frying pan to fry it. And you want to carefully turn these over and fry each side. We're not aiming for the tofu to become golden brown, but this nice yellowish gold hue is what you want to see. I could already feel with my chopsticks that it's nice, crispy, and crunchy on the outside, so I'm going to go ahead and start taking these guys out. While I'm frying up my second batch, I started to reheat the sauce that I'm preparing, and I got some cornstarch and water here, just about a teaspoon and a half of cornstarch to a teaspoon and a half of water, and just go ahead, slowly drizzle that in, give it a quick stir, and let it thicken up. And once the sauce has thickened up nice, we are going to get ready to serve. Go ahead, grab your bowl, place in your tofu, and right on top of that, go ahead and drizzle in your soup or sauce. There we go. And then, don't forget your toppings. Add in the crushed roasted sesame seeds we made earlier. And you want to add a touch of bonito flakes as well, Katsuobushi. And lastly, some chopped green onions. Gives it a pop of color and an extra crunch to it, and it's nice and refreshing. And there you have it. One of the best dishes for a cold winter night, Agedashi tofu. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this. It's still nice and crunchy, crispy on the outside, but if you cut it in half, it's gonna be super rich and hot too. So you gotta be careful not to burn the roof of your mouth when you eat this dish. All right, I wanna go ahead and dig in while it's still nice and hot, so itadakimasu. I actually just got home from picking up Sky from preschool and finished making this dish. And she's over there saying that she doesn't feel too well, so I hope this gets her excited. She loves tofu, so I'm pretty sure she'll love it. tastes so good, makes me want to cry. It tastes like home. It's one of those dishes that makes you reminisce of the good old days in Japan. The exterior coating soaks up a lot of the flavors from the soup, and ponzu, which is a citrusy soy sauce, really pairs well with tofu, and same with the sesame too. I typically don't like to fry foods because it's unhealthy for you and whatnot, but when it comes to making fried tofu, I could eat this every day. Well friends, I hope you enjoyed this recipe as much as I did. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this off in a couple of minutes here and serve it to my daughter as well, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna enjoy it. If you're a fan of tofu like I am, I hope you try this out at home because it's guaranteed to put a smile on your face. And before I say goodbye, please make sure to drop a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you back in my canteen real soon.